My name is Mitzi Sackett, and I was certified by iPEC in the year of 2011. It's kind of interesting how I became a coach because, honest to goodness, when I came to Mod 1, I did not even know what a life coach was. So they tell you, my journey is definitely a testimony to the fact that we all have a purpose. And I was at a big time in my life. A huge transition had just happened in many areas of my life. So it was kind of a scary time. And a friend of mine said to me, Mitzi, have you ever considered being a life coach? And I said, I have no idea what that is. And long story short, is she decided to go to school, and she invited me as a guest to Mod 1. So I went to Mod 1, and what I realized during that wonderful event, I received a welcome letter that really encouraged guests to come for their own personal growth. And I realized that during these last few years of my transition, a lot of the concepts, a lot of the tools were sort of instinctive. Instinctively, I had been doing them. And then, when you're a guest, the big question is, there was probably 5 of us in the mod that were guests. So the question by the end of the weekend is, so are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? What do you think? And I remember using the bathroom, ironically, and the Stephanie Mariska, who was one of the wonderful, wonderful moderators, leaders, she said to me the same question, do you think you're going to do this? And I said, my life is in a huge transition right now, and I know that I have to do something. And I said, I came here, I'm waking up each day with my mind open to whatever. And she said, Mitzi, this all comes very, very naturally to you. So she said, I would highly encourage you to take this route. And so I did, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and energy does attract like energy. And I love that we learned a lot of the science behind that in the training. I was not in a position, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I drove a school bus and made $16,000 a year. So, and all of a sudden I was on my own with a couple of kids. And so I had no idea how I would pay for a tuition, but you just put your wishes out there and the universe provides. And so here I am. So the name of my business is Total Transformation with Mitzi, Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds. And I actually, after I became a coach, really that's when the journey begins. I coach women in health and wellness. And in particular, I coach, my niche is very specific. I coach women who've really been challenged their entire life by weight issues, body image issues, food relationship issues. And I help them completely transform to living a healthy life every day, and not one that they struggle with. And I create a space where they grow to love themselves, so healthy choices become something they desire to do. It truly becomes a want to, just out of love for themselves, because it makes your body feel good and it makes your mind feel good. And so I really love that. And it did take me some time to really hone in on the specifics of my niche. So last fall, I rebranded myself. I changed the name of my business, and I'm really just loving what's happening. My secret ingredient, quite honestly, is do the work, hire the coaches that you need, stay engaged in understanding shifting of energy and reprogramming of mindset and rewiring really of your brain. And that has really been the secret ingredient for me to take this from a hobby to a career. My success formula was to bring it all together. You really have to have all of the pieces of the puzzle. You really do have to have that business coach, and you do have to have that branding coach, and you do have to have that copywriter, and you do have to learn the technology that sometimes for, a 10-year stay-at-home mom who lives in upstate New York in the country, I have to take the time to do the lead pages tutorials, and you have to bring that all together at the same time that you have a life coach, and you have a money story coach, and you have, a law of attraction. You're working with law of attraction people, and you're constantly, every day I have a ritual. Every morning I have a ritual of visioning and affirmations. And so you really do have to bring kind of, I want to say, both sides of the brain together to create success. And you have to learn, just as we do with our clients, you have to learn with yourself when your mind is saying things that get in your way. Things like, I don't have enough money, or, the beliefs that you're believing that are really blocks. And you really have, that's my success formula is, like I said, with my secret ingredient is to continually be working on your own state of being. Really, that's what it's all about. And then things just start happening, and it just, the struggle goes away. It's like magic. It's so exciting. And then you get to start helping people, and then people's lives start to transform, and you're like, oh, it's really, really exciting. What motivates me every day, guys, life is trial and error. It really is. And it's really seeing it as that everything is given to me for the purpose of learning. And what motivates me is I went to this big event last March in Utah. It was a lot of women entrepreneurs. A lot of them were coaches, and they were from all over the world. And this beautiful woman from Norway, she said to me, Mitzi, she said, when you just realize that this is why you're here, and that you are just no longer going to, that this is why you're here. This is your complete purpose. And that's really what motivates me, is really believing that this message I bring, this work I do, how I impact the lives of women, is really why I'm here. And I see connecting to something bigger. I mean, it's not just about success in my business. It's not just about success for the women that I work with. It's not just about the amazing feeling that I go to bed with every night, but it's also about, I'm going to get a little woohooey. It's about a grander scale. It's about our species and where we're at today. And it's about how women feel about themselves and the power of the energy and that flows out from us and how that impacts our world. So that's really what motivates me. It's kind of deep. It really is. It's very spiritual for me. My mantra in life and in my business, and honestly, it took me a while to translate this from my life into my business, is that I am enough. That I am enough. And my gremlin that I revealed during training, that we all revealed during training, her name was Insufficient. And she was a shapeshifter. So she could come across as a hunger for education, or a hunger to, I just have to learn this one new thing, or I have to be certified in this one new thing, or I have to have this under my belt. And it was just a really pretty way for Insufficient to do her thing. So really my mantra is I am enough. And it's really something I say every day. And truly, truly everything I have today, everything I need to do today to get me to where I want to go. And that's really been, honest to goodness, a success formula for me. It's what's really started to lay down the pavers on the sidewalk, Okay, so some of the things that I've had to break through, the list is long, but it's wonderful because, the bigger the list, the bigger the transformation. So, but my money story, I've had to do a lot of work on my money story in terms of my culture and how we viewed money. And I've had to do a lot of work surrounding the difference in perspective between lack and abundance. And I really can't say enough how huge that's been for me. It's really huge. And it's still working. I'm still experiencing it every day. Another thing I think that we all have to break through is what I'm understanding is believing that we're enough, believing that possibilities are endless. They really are. And learning tenacity because of that belief, and learning that we could never in our finite minds, which can be until we begin to do this work of shifting this energy and have these beautiful tools that float us up into like level 6 and level 7, which is something I really try to practice every day. You really can only see the finite parts that your brain can understand, and that's so limiting. And when you begin to really see that possibilities are endless, then when you're on a journey and it's not working out the way you want to, you just embrace that. Like, oh, thank you. Thank you for this message to steer a little bit to the right or steer a little bit to the left. And that's a huge, valuable lesson for me and breakthrough for me, because those things used to be coming from a different perspective. They used to be, I would become very downtrodden and I would become very overwhelmed. And so that's been a very, very valuable lesson to me. Transformations, from deep within, they just don't happen overnight. And I just made a commitment to myself that I was going to be something different in this field of health and wellness for women. And when you have a coach or a client come to you like after 6 months and say, I had this result and it didn't crush me. And I had this result and I said, thank you self for showing me that this is the way I need to go. And just to see them just really begin to love the skin that they're in, you just really get a sense that you're on the right track.